when I was 18 years old, I was in a real bad car accident, and I think that that was the turning moment or the pivot moment of really understanding like what am I going to do with my life.
What's up, truth seekers? You're listening to Damaged to Dangerous, where I bring my passion for pulling back the veil on a quote, pill for every pain, calling out what's broken in the medical industry, and exposing the lies about our food system. Let's walk into real healing to help those misdiagnosed, over medicated, and spiritually stuck get their lives back, body, mind, and spirit. Food is medicine. You're not broken. You've just been lied to. It's time to wake up, get free, and become dangerously whole. So let's go. Thank you all for joining us today, and welcome to another episode of Damaged to Dangerous, overcoming what tried to take you out, body, soul, and spirit. And I'm really thrilled and honored today to have friend Bobby Benjamin with me, and he's amazing. I go to this urban market in Franklin, and there's no herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, seed oils, etc. in the food. It's good, clean food. And Bobby, you're the head chef there, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's amazing, and I'm grateful to know you and your family. Your
Thank
daughters
you.
shared with me one of their books, The Army Inside of You,
Uh,
about the
that's awesome.
microbiome, which is the good bacteria, and how to not feed your bad bacteria. And I think every adult needs this. So
Oh, that's awesome. I
yeah,
love that.
it's
That's
fun.
so good.
Raise them up
Yeah,
the way they should go. That's
that's it.
incredible. You know,
That's it.
you're,
Absolutely.
you're a good daddy, and you've got 5 daughters now, correct?
I do. Yeah, five daughters, and they're fun. I think that they're constantly teaching me something as much as I'm teaching them.
Oh, I'm pretty
So yeah.
sure. I'm pretty sure. I tell everybody my father was my first employee. You know, I was the boss. But, well, a baby is always the boss, right? So
Right, right. That's awesome.
anyway, so just for people who are just getting to know you, what's your story? Take us back. How'd you end up even cooking at all, except for you know
Oh
feed
wow.
your immediate family? And
Sure, sure. I mean, it's a long story. I mean, I'll give you some clips, for sure. I mean, I think that, well, first of all, I'm in my car, so,
you're,
um, but
you're at
anyways,
work.
but I just want to tell you, I became very, very, interested in cooking, at a young age. I was, I think 10, if not earlier than that. I mean, I went from having a knife in my hand and up in the Northeast coast, and I'm skinning animals and selling animals to a pelt company. Okay, and this is when I was 8, 9 years old. Really learned the anatomy, of like raccoons, muskrats, otters, mink, you name it. And it was a pretty amazing um thing to look back at now and go, wow, that's actually where I think the Lord started, when you start connecting the dots, when you get older. So I think that's one thing. Fast forward, I mean, I started prep cooking and dishwashing at a early age of 12, got paid a little cash under the table for a little bit. And by the time I was 16, I had keys to a restaurant. Um, and then, when you go from there, you're cooking, you're cooking and constantly progressing, working with some great chefs around the country. Um, and it was just, it was a constant journey. And I think that, along the way, you had things that would, take you out or try to take you out, I should say, and when I was 18 years old, I was in a real bad car accident, and I think that that was the turning moment or the pivot moment of really understanding like what am I going to do with my life. Um and I think that it went from, kind of unsure at 18 years old, being a young kid. And so, when you break your neck in two places and you're in a halo, and you have to really learn how to like be mobile again. That's a challenge, right? So I think that going from there, yeah, I'll never forget. I was an athlete back then, and I end up on the ball field. And I talked to one of my friends. I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "I don't even know what I'm gonna do." And he was just like, "You need to keep cooking." I was like, "Okay, sure, right."
You
And
obviously fed him.
that's right, that's right. So I so yeah, so I cooked. I went down a journey. I think that I also, um, I think that fear almost took me out as well. So when you think about that, there's things like that along the journey of when I was in my early 20s. After that car accident, it was like people always ask me, um, every now and then people will say like, what motivated you? What got you so, you know, you're so ambitious and you've accomplished this and you've done this and you've done that. And I said, well, I wasn't always that way. I think that I ran in fear, and I went from running in fear um, to kind of chasing the world, And when you run in fear and you chase the world, you get to the point where you're like, you start comparing yourself to a lot of things that don't matter. And anyways, I've been able to do a lot of amazing things and accomplish a lot of amazing things through the Lord teaching me a lot of things along the way. Um, and so, I mean, all the way up to, being able to have my own restaurant and, you know, to be able to have my own restaurant and then, later on, find myself in a position of like kind of starting my life all over again at the age of 40. It's been amazing to see where things are. And I mean, just I know I'm kind of like telling you a fast forward version, but it's been also amazing to be able to like, be in Tulsa, Oklahoma and be on the island of your kitchen and be praying to the Lord about what the future of the restaurant business looks like. And immediately you start sketching a restaurant that is also a market, that's also fast casual, that also has a bakery and that's producing coffee and up to that point wasn't such a fast casual guy. I spent most of my time in fine dining. So going from spending most of your time in fine dining to really leaning into that really kind of curb my interest of going, Lord, what do you have me doing? And so after sketching, you know, kind of what this thought process was or this idea, the Lord was like, yeah, I want you to build a financial model for it. And I was like, excuse me, and I was like, okay, I probably need to do that. So I did. I spent about 6 or 8 months working on this financial model, this business plan. And I would say, I put it down probably about 4 to 6 weeks. After I put it down, I felt like the Lord tugging on me saying, you got to finish this financial model. And so I did. And, after I finished that financial model, it was within 2 weeks, I got a phone call. Uh, and it was pretty amazing because a gentleman that I, probably only talked to a few times, in my life reached out to me and said, hey, the Lord put it on my heart today um to reach out to you, these people that I know, they really, really need some help with some things. And I was like, I thought it was like consulting or whatever. I wasn't sure what the project was or anything, but the Lord brought me, fast forward, the Lord brought me to Franklin, Tennessee, back home, like my home is, half my home, I should say, or half my life was Bell Buckle, Tennessee. But then, like the other part, um, and I say that as far as like, most of my childhood, is more like that side. And then my wife is Franklin. And so for us to be able to like come back home and then also be put into a spot that is a market, is fast casual, is a restaurant that sells coffee and pastries. I'm like, well, the Lord's onto something, So, so I think that I'm always leaning into, what is the Lord telling me to do? That's
Right.
it. If the Lord's guiding me to do something, no matter how hard it is, or it's one of those things where I think the Lord's given you the tools always, um, for always the next steps in life.
Right.
I mean, it's
Yes.
just been a journey. I mean, I go back to like when I was a child and having, a knife in my hand and doing these things, and then later on, being young in the kitchen, and then fast forwarding into fine dining and everything else. I mean, I needed all those experiences just to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah, I heard Lance Wallnau once say that God will use everything written in the margins of your life. He wastes nothing. And that's profoundly true when you start looking back and thinking about it. But were you always holistic or organic, crunchy?
I think I started becoming, I spent a little bit of time in, I lived in Santa Monica, worked in Beverly Hills, and I never forget going to the farmers markets back then. And I think that was the biggest part that kind of curbed my interest of like, there's a plethora of ingredients. So if it's apple season, you're trying 20 different apples. And literally when you're at the market, they would allow you to. You would literally taste everything. And you were so for me, I was intrigued because prior to that, I mean, I worked in Southern kitchens and we got some, a farm to table, even way, way back then before it was cool. I mean, like, you know, I'm I'm in a interesting part of the restaurant culture because when I was in my um early 20s, it was not cool to be a chef. It was not even cool to cook, you know. Um so when and that was when I was like 24 years old. I was out in California though. And so anyways, fast forward, um 26 years old, I had an opportunity to open up a restaurant and be an executive chef for a couple of gentlemen. And it was amazing. And I never forget that that was the point in my life where I was just sourcing. I was trying to find the best ingredients. I was trying to find out what um you know where how is this chicken raised? What feed was this chicken being fed? And I was literally involved in that, and I was 26 years old. So
Because the food
now,
had flavor? Is that why? Because it would change the flavor?
to me it was I at first I wasn't as educated, so it wasn't just about flavor. I just had an interest in like, is it local? And what's in season? And I became fascinated about what's in season. I became fascinated about what's local, and then also just the process, because I kind of wanted to go down the rabbit hole with every single thing that I was cooking at that time. And so I just had like more of a chef approach. And that was from, um, I would say 26 years old to 40 years old. I always had like more of a chef approach. I think that recently, the past 5 years, I've really had a different approach, more from the home cook, the person that's cooking at home, because I've had the opportunity to cook for my family a lot more recently, which is completely different. Um, and so now that's also been interesting too, because my wife, Hannah, she's really, really, I think, she's got a gift, and lots of gifts, I should say, but she has a gift of really understanding sourcing, and she goes down the rabbit hole as well when it comes up to everything that you're buying for your home. Um, so it's been really kind of like this really interesting balance of and kind of fusion of kind of like where my strengths and talents are and where her strengths and talents are, and kind of bringing it together and really having a stronger understanding of really what parents um you know what do parents have difficulties with today when they're actually dealing with the stress of time.
Right,
So
right,
yeah.
right. Well, yeah, time. Parents, I can't imagine. I've got a dog. I'm still stressed for time. So anyway, but you are. organic, crunchy, holistic, whatever. What are some of
Oh,
your, yeah, you're working at
sure.
a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
So, what are your hard no's as far as ingredients go that you just say too
Oof.
toxic, not worth the price, not my kids, not my home? What
You
would
know,
that
there's it's almost like how much time do you have? Because it's
be? Yeah,
almost there
right.
it's pretty complex. You know, I think that first of all, I'll say that I am more of a whole bird approach. I mean, I would rather cook a whole bird than cook anything that's been um taken apart. You know, I understand the difficulties on both sides. I understand the person that's at home cooking that goes, well, I kind of want to I just want chicken breast tonight. And I'm kind of like, that's fine and everything, but you know, anyways, not to get too off topic there, but to focus on more what you're asking, it's like my nose are like seed oils.
Right.
I mean, I'm big on seed oils. I think that, um, I'm just fortunate where I'm just like I'm always studying. I look at all the avocado oils that we're able to purchase, and I've done a test on different avocado oils to get rid of seed oils, and you look at the different viscosity, the different body of the avocado oil. You look at um just the process of understanding the cost, because I think a lot of people think that it costs more when it actually doesn't.
I
It's like
know.
you actually use a lot less avocado oil if you're buying the best than you are, a seed oil, because you're gonna use less, the body's thicker. Especially when you're it doesn't matter if you're working with like pastries or even cooking with it, you're going to use a lot less product. But I would say that's my number one no. Like I'm concerned about that. Number two, I would say, is sugar. I'm just not a big sugar fan. um I don't think it's good for you. I think that, when you study food, and you study food from the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, we didn't really see sugar. You saw honey, sorghum, molasses. That's kind of what you lean towards,
Yeah. Yeah.
maple syrup, you know. Those are the things you
I'm on
see,
that. Yeah,
those are,
sugar is 8 to 8. I've seen numbers like 8 to 15 times more addictive than cocaine, and it does more
oh,
brain
for sure.
damage. So that's
Yeah,
why
for
you didn't
sure. I'm
see it. It was traded as an illegal drug at one time.
wow. So that's the thing is like, I think those are my top two. Um and then anything that's commodity. I try, I don't want to mess with any type of commodity ingredient. Um
What does that mean to somebody like me? What does
s-
that mean? Food dye?
so commodity ingredient is anything that you don't know where it's sourced from,
You mean
and
processed, ultra
that's
processed?
like it can be ultra processed, but it can be chicken,
Oh,
it could
yeah,
be any type of, it's really anything that you don't know where it comes from.
right,
So
right.
yeah, we try to be super intentional. I mean, yeah, I mean, we may have snacks and stuff, you talk about like potato chips or whatever, right? Like for the kids, but it's still avocado oil, you know.
Right.
So my thing is like we just try to be like super, super intentional about every single thing that we're consuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
My wife and I, we go back and forth. She's like, I want to focus on 80/20, and I'm over here going like, I think I'm more like the 90/10, 95/5, sometimes 100%. It depends, but I really try to be like super, super intentional.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and then, you brought up the Lord. He's also written a book about food called the Bible.
absolutely.
You
That's
know,
right.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
If you do
Yeah.
this, then you'll be blessed. If you do that, then you'll be cursed. So
Yeah.
you get to choose. You get to
Absolutely.
choose. And
And
I,
I mean, we're blessed. I mean, he left, when you talk about what he's left us, personally, like of what we're able to use, why would we not use it? I mean, it's the most. purest, you know, purest seasonal ingredients.
Right. And I remember living overseas at one time, and the food had so much flavor.
Oh yeah,
I was blown away, and I was satisfied with
yeah,
what I ate. And then I come home and, you know,
yeah,
there's the hot dog stand um and not that there's, Chicago hot dogs, okay. Once every decade or something. I can't get past the ingredient list now in my head to actually
that's right.
stomach it. But
Yeah,
you know what? We were eating a lot of it's a fast food generation and it's addictive.
yeah.
I worked with a guy at one time that had some uh, traumatic past and addiction past and
Mhm.
prison past. And the only job he could get was at McDonald's. And he told me the same people come in every day, 3 and 4 times a day.
Wow.
Because he recognizes addiction. So
Hmm.
do I, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Wow.
anyway, but there are good things to get addicted to, right? Like whole
Amen.
foods, clean foods, love, peace,
Yeah,
joy. It's a
that's
better
right.
life.
That's right.
Anyway, as much as I'm at Urban Market, maybe I should talk about the same people coming in day after day. Uh, but I trust the food.
That's right. That's right.
And you said something that's key. A lot of people think eating clean is way more expensive, but that's not always true.
It's not always true. I mean, you know, it's also, I mean, I don't know. There's lots of ways of looking at it. I mean, you can look at it financially, and financially, I don't think that it's very, very expensive. I think that you can take ingredients and stretch it. I think that we need more classes. I think that people need more education to feel more comfortable about what they're doing. Um, I think that's probably a fear-based moment of the reason why people lean towards doing stuff a little bit more convenient. Um, but I don't think it's more expensive. I also think that you're gonna feel a lot better, and you got to think about how much time, right? How much time are you gonna sit on the couch watching Netflix when you could be more active because you feel healthier? So I
Right.
mean, and that's very, very simple, a simple way of putting it. But that's what I think about it. It's like it's actually it's to me, I feel like it's actually cheaper. And then later on in life, it's actually going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
So it's more expensive not to eat clean today.
I was told it was a high cost of low living. You put chemicals and substances in your body.
Absolutely.
You pay
Absolutely.
now or you pay later. There is a
That's
cost,
right.
everything.
There is a cost.
And
There's a
and I
cost.
kind of like my liver today. Before I thought I was, you know,
Sure.
invincible. But
Yes.
hard stops come in life, don't they? And
That's right.
unfortunately, they're coming for younger and younger and younger people.
Absolutely.
Even
Absolutely. And you
cancers at
see it.
30.
Yeah, you see it constantly. I mean, you see even older people, even a lot of older people are even you see a lot of older people you know, dying younger,
Right,
you know. So that's the other thing too.
right. So from what I understand, from the Bible, we're to live to 120. So
That's
I
right.
have a friend of mine who's 89 and he's more vibrant than most 30-year-olds, but they've eaten clean, they've lived clean. And he said he considers 60 to 90 middle-aged. I'm like, well,
Wow.
that's awesome. You're just a
You know,
punk.
I met a guy, yeah, I met a guy that was 70 not too long ago, and he looked like he was 50, but he wasn't from the United States, and he's eating clean. Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Right. Very clean. Clean, clean food, clean household products, clean,
Right.
as clean as we can be in this toxic world. But a lot of these diseases that come along, they're lifestyle diseases. You
That's
know,
right.
if you don't want a heart disease, don't eat seed oils. Or
That's right.
depression is inflammation of the brain, and sugar will fuel that. And
That's right.
Ask me how I
That's
know.
right.
So anyway,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. So you're on your way to where do you buy most of your food?
Well, it depends. I mean, I do buy some at Urban Market.
Yeah,
Uh, well, one is nice 'cause I get to source things and buy
you know where it's
things, and
coming from.
it's
Yeah,
convenient.
yeah.
It's convenient for me, you know. Um, and then the other thing is like I'll go to Whole Foods some and I'll get some produce there. I like the organic potatoes they have. I think that's kind of the thing that I really focus on there. Um, Sprouts has a few things as well. I mean, we kind of laugh about it because I feel like sometimes we have to shop at six different places to eat clean. You know, you go to the
Right.
farmer's market. I mean,
Yeah.
there's there's a plethora. I mean, I do think like it it is a big responsibility and it does take time.
Well, I love going to the farmer's market on Saturday morning. You know,
Absolutely.
it's where I get my raw milk and my grass fed, get grass finished beef. I do buy some at Urban Market, I can't deny
Oh
that.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I definitely instead of going to Kroger, I go to the farmer's market. It's more fun. I see people
That's
I
it.
know. I see people
Absolutely.
that I don't know, and I get to know, and you get to know these vendors and who's legit and who's not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway,
For sure.
well, thank you for your time. I know you've got to
Oh
run,
yes, absolutely.
but maybe we could do a part two sometime, and you could give us some tips on how we could do day to day life with healthy food and not spend 12 hours in the kitchen or something.
Oh, absolutely. You know, with having five girls, I've it's been really interesting to be at home and cook and to really understand. I mean, that's one thing I will say is like I never really understood the home cook,
Right.
and I think, I'll say like I don't believe in coincidence or anything like that, and I think the Lord put me in this position to really understand, you know, to be able to be at home, cook for my five daughters and understand like how can I accomplish a meal within 30 minutes. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really what I've been focusing on a lot when I'm at home is what can I accomplish in 30 minutes? And then what does the cleanup look like? And then like how efficient is everything and what is the cost behind it? And I think that, you know, when you start focusing on all those variables, um, you know, I think that it's given me the opportunity to really hone in on some things that I think that we can talk about next time and really share, you know, about how to make things more you know, convenient uh for the guests as well.
Right. Well, look forward
So yeah.
to it. Well, thank
Yeah.
you very much for sharing. I'll
Oh
see
yeah,
you soon.
absolutely.
And
Thank you so much for having me.
absolutely
That's a
love
wrap
it.
for
So
today
thank
on
you,
Damaged to
people, for
Dangerous.
tuning
If
in.
this
We'll
shook
do part
something
two
loose,
soon.
don't
Damaged to
keep it to
dangerous.
yourself. Share
Have
it,
a great
rate it,
day.
review
Thank you.
it. That's how we crack the system and spread real healing. Want to stay in the fight? Follow me on social media at Lynn Eldridge Official. And if you believe in what we're doing and want to support us, just grab the link below or send this episode to someone who needs the truth. Remember, don't just heal, heal loudly, heal boldly, be dangerous.